Hello, my name is Christian Aldo, and welcome to the Plastic General. In today's episode, we're going to be checking out some figure sets by Plastic Platoon of the British defense of the island of Crete. We're also going to be checking out some vintage vehicles made by Dinky and Britain's Deetail, made back in the 60s and 70s. Sound exciting? Let's go to war! Fire! So the invasion of Crete took place in 1941, and the British had a very strategically placed air base on the island of Crete, and the Germans knew that they needed that airstrip. So they decided to invade Crete with the world's first major airborne operation by German paratroopers. And the air base was defended by the British. And so one of my favorite toy soldier companies in the world, Plastic Platoon, came out with a set of 6 poses of British infantry defending Crete. And here we go. Okay, so we're going to start off with the first 2 poses from the set. One of them is it's a British commander firing a Thompson machine gun, sort of sharpshooting. And this other guy is a regular British Tommy firing a Thompson machine gun more from the waist. Some great details on the British commander. You could see his Victorian-style mustache. You could tell he was probably a veteran from World War I. He's got that great British look to him. And this guy here, you could tell, didn't go to the dentist. Fantastic detail in the characterizations of these fantastic sculpts. You can feel the fervor of them defending their island. Poses 3 and 4. You know, Plastic Platoon, they always come out with usually with a very modest number of poses. 6 is a very, very modest number, but they sure the hell make up for it in detail. It's also cast in very soft plastic, so they can pull it out of very complicated, but limited molds. I think they're made from like rubber molds, so they can only make about 300 sets, and then that's it. They'd have to make new molds. But anyway, there is a Tommy. He's advancing with rifle and bayonet, and he's sort of yelling as he's charging. Some German paratrooper as he's landing, gonna stick him with the bayonet. And then this figure, he's wearing a webbed helmet, and he's firing the infamous Bren heavy machine gun, versatile heavy machine gun by the British Army. And the last 2 poses are the most interesting. Number 5 and 6. The first figure, it looks like he just haphazardly grabbed a bayonet, and he also has a pickaxe, and he's fending off the German paratroopers and while yelling. But this guy is my favorite guy. Again, another, you could tell he's a British commander, probably a veteran from World War I. He's got that great handlebar mustache. He's wearing, if you look closely, brass knuckles. And he's got his sidearm. And he's ready to beat those Jerrys back with his fists. 2 great poses. And you know me, I'm not going to settle at a mere 6 poses. So of course I bought many sets of these Brits, and Plastic General made his conversions. I'm going to show you right now. So kids, you can do this too at home. So I made a British soldier getting shot in a very animated way. And I made him it was a lot of fun making this guy. I combined this figure with the screaming of this guy. By putting those together, this was the baby they made. Look at that. His death will be frozen in action for all eternity. Oh, even his backpack is flipping back. Okay, so I made 2 conversions. And basically, it's this figure. I just swapped the head out I gave him a Tommy helmet, and I gave him no helmet. So I made this conversion. He seems to be firing his rifle from mid-chest. And I made him with the spare that I had from this Wily cat. And finally, my favorite conversion. It's a commander running with his pistol upward with his fist clenched. He must have stolen the other brass knuckles from his buddy. And I created him from this figure here. As you can see, I removed the backpack, swapped the heads, arms, but you know, you would never notice that it's the same figure. The beautiful thing about plastic Platoon is that you can use super glue to cut and paste. So there you have it, the fighting and tenacious British troops defending the island of Crete. These figures are still available. From what I know, I've heard that Plastic Platoon only creates 300 sets. They're still kind of available on eBay, but they are definitely a must, and I could see them being very valuable one day. I love them. They're my favorite set of British ever made. Plastic Platoon, British Infantry. So the next set we're going to talk about from Plastic Platoon is the German Fallschirmjägers, which translated means German paratroopers or sky hunters. So the first two poses, holding Mauser rifle, throwing potato masher grenade, and you have a figure here. He's probably an officer. He's reaching down into a drop container full of weaponry. Poses 3 and 4. These two Fallschirmjägers have just freshly landed on the ground. One figure, he's in the process of taking off his jumpsuit or his jump jacket, and he's firing a Walter P-38. And this figure has a sidearm. Most German paratroopers were armed with sidearms, and they use the containers to drop their weapons separately. And he has his gravity knife in his other hand to sort of cut away the tethers of his parachute if needed. And to complete the first set, poses 5 and 6, standing sharpshooting MP40 submachine gun, and advancing forward with MG34 heavy versatile machine gun. Look at them go. Part 2 to the actual paratrooper set is it's a smaller set, and it also includes a Greek partisan, but we're not going to talk about the partisans in this episode. You have a German paratrooper pulling one of the containers. It's a container that's filled with weapons and supplies. Here you have a wounded German soldier. And here they included this is another container with weapons that's open, and this one is a container, as you can see, with medical supplies. And there you have it, all 8 poses of Plastic Platoon's Fallschirmjägers from the Invasion of Crete set. Now we're going to go to the second half of the German paratrooper set, and these are German glider troops. So starting with the 6 poses of German glider troops. So the Germans not only used paratroopers coming down from parachutes, they also had soldiers stealthily arrive in gliders. And so for the first pose, you have a commander waving his soldiers on while holding an MP40 machine gun, while this particular character is holding a sidearm. But if you notice, he's wearing a pilot's jumpsuit, and he's loading a clip into his pistol. Poses 3 and 4. Both figures are advancing, but if you'll notice, They're wearing life jackets. I guess that would have been, the jackets I think would have been a bright color. That would have been just in case the glider went down into the water, that they'd be able to be spotted and saved, or help them stay afloat. Great action shots. I love the way this figure's wearing camouflage. He's wearing a camo helmet cover. And poses 6 and 7. Firing MG34 from waist. And this figure's firing a Mauser, but if you notice in his mouth, he's holding a clip of 5 bullets in his clenching it in his teeth, getting ready to load it into the rifle. And there you have them in all their glory, all 6 poses of German glider-born Fallschirmjägers. As always, I love giving you tips on some great 132 scale World War II items that may not be on your radar. And this is a 132 scale Bren gun carrier that was made in the early 70s by Dinky. And it did come with a driver, but don't worry about the driver. The 2 driver figures are a sub. They're of sub quality. You don't really need them. But it's the Bren gun carrier itself that's really worth getting. It pops up regularly on eBay or on the market. It's got a nice movable tracks, very solid metal construction, and it is in 132 scale. You see, compared to this figure here, it's definitely worth getting. And the next vehicle we're going to look at is a British-style Jeep, kind of like the ones that you would see, the British SAS raiding Jeeps that you would have seen in the North African campaign. It's got the 2 heavy machine guns on it, and the fuel cans. Again, the figure's missing. The figure's under par. But here's a British commander. You can see him for scale. And this particular Jeep pops up all the time. It's a great specimen. Definitely recommended. The next item is an artillery piece by Britain's Deetail. And the listing says it's a 105 millimeter howitzer. And there's a really nice feature about it. There's a little dial here where you can have it lower or raise or lower. And it turns. And it fires. So if, let's say, there's a child with beautiful blue eyes, you put the bullet in here and you shoot his eye out with this. But it's a great howitzer. And here is a German officer for scale comparison. Well, the German paratroopers coming, so you elevate the gun and blow them out of the sky. And last but not least is the Airfix 132 scale Bedford truck. It's the British Bedford truck. Now, this thing was made in the early 70s, like 1971, I believe, and I think it was reissued again in perhaps the early 90s. But it's very, very, very rare now. A little funny little thing of note. Technically, the Bedford truck was made slightly after World War II. But you know what? I don't care. I love this truck. And I wanted this truck, and I was chasing it down for so many years, and I finally scored it. They pop up on eBay. But it's a nice truck to have. There's not many British trucks out there. So it's definitely a keeper. And there you go for size comparison. The Airfix 132 scale British Bedford truck. Enough of this useless information. Who wants to see the Fallschirmjägers invade Crete? And this helmet is so tight on my head it hurts. And yes, my MP40's in terrible condition. Nevertheless, let's get to the battle. So we know what history tells us. They successfully got Crete, and the British surrendered. But anyways, the Brits will be back. So, if you like this episode of The Plastic General, please remember to hit that subscribe button, because that's what keeps us alive and keeps us going. So hit subscribe, and then there's a little bell down next to it. If you hit that, we'll send you all the latest episodes that we do. And hit like, because I know you like plastic toy soldiers. My name is Christian Aldo. I'm the Plastic General, and I'll see you next time.